Okay, gang, I am so excited. I gotta go move my bowels. But first, I thought I would do the introduction to this video. I'm excited as heck to do this video. It's the most important video I've ever done in my entire life. I've tried to do this video several times. I've even tried to do it several times today, but I haven't been able to be alone in my space. But here I am. The last time I tried to do this video was about a year ago. I still have the footage on my computer. The video didn't work. It fell apart like diaphanous tissue in my hand. It disappeared like tears in the rain. But today, I put on my wisdom turtleneck. This is my wisdom turtleneck. I'm wearing my wisdom turtleneck, and today we're going to do the greatest video that has ever been made, and put on YouTube. But first, I gotta go move my bowels. Okay, man, I just sat down on the toilet and watched that footage. It's all a little bit much, but I don't care, because today is no holds barred. This is it. This is it. Did I mention this is it? Okay, I'm gonna calm down now, relax, become serious, and give you the greatest video on Zen Buddhism you'll ever watch. Here we go. Okay, so we might ask, what is Zen Buddhism? And some might ask, is Zen even Buddhism at all? I mean, I've had people come to me, I think it was someone in the Theravadan tradition, and he said, you know, a lot of my teachers and fellow monks, because he was in, I think it was Thailand for a while, he said, they don't even consider Zen to be Buddhism, which is interesting. But I would consider Zen to be Buddhism. And to that end, I want to talk about the Four Noble Truths. And I want to show you kind of the essence and the spirit of Zen as these Four Noble Truths kind of get transformed in real time into the practice of Zen. Or something that's called taitoku, which I'll put right here, which is a Japanese word, which means to apprehend and to express with your whole body, your whole being. So let's take a look at the Four Noble Truths, and let's transform them in real time, right now, into Zen practice. So the first noble truth in Buddhism is suffering, and or dukkha is the Sanskrit word. Dukkha is a word that has different meanings depending on how it's translated. It can be suffering, it can be unsatisfactoriness, but the first noble truth is essentially, in this world that we find ourselves in, there is suffering. I believe Heidegger called this Geworfenheit. I don't know how to pronounce the German word. Geworfenheit. It means thrownness. We're thrust into this world. We hit the ground running. Now, I have my own bespoke DIY interpretation of the first noble truth. And here it is. Life as we know it is probably not how any one of us would have designed it. As Joseph Campbell put it, life eats life. That is like a fundamental starting gate truth here on planet Earth. So, like, if you or I had been involved in the beta planning stages of our world, we probably wouldn't have said, let's make a weak animal, and then let's make a stronger animal that attacks it and causes pain to it by killing it and then consuming it and making the weaker animal part of its own body. And we'll make the stronger animal have to eat the weaker animal, or else it will die horribly from starvation and hunger. That seems like the only way we can do things. I mean, if it was up to me, I would have said, let's have an animal that grows grows T-bone steaks on its back. And every once in a while it's like, I don't like this steak, and it shakes it off. And there's a larger, stronger animal that's right there that catches the steak and then cooks it on the fire and eats it. And everybody's happy. We wouldn't have created a world where things like starvation, genocide, cancer, and the career of Jake Paul are even remote possibilities. But the world we find ourselves in is shot through with unsatisfactoriness. That unsatisfactoriness, that consistent, something is not right, let reality change. Like that fighting against reality, that unsatisfactory quality. This is the first noble truth in Buddhism. Second noble truth is that craving causes suffering. Suffering is caused by tanha. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. There's always somebody in the comments section to let me know when I mispronounce Sanskrit words. So please do so now. Tanha, craving causes suffering. There's this, this very powerful hamster in the very, very back of our heads running on the craving wheel. Inexhaustible hamster, craving, 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 moment after moment after moment, right? We want our lives to be different. We want them to be better. We want to be more secure. We want to be richer, more powerful, healthier, more popular. We want bucketfuls of love dropped onto our heads, right? We want like the world to affirm us and kiss our asses. Paradoxically and impossibly enough, without even really knowing it, we like crave a different reality. We are not one with our surroundings as they are in the moment, moment after moment, and we suffer, period. Such is the second noble truth in Buddhism. What's the third noble truth? The third noble truth is the prognosis. So the historical Buddha figure has been treating this situation, this teaching, he's been treating the condition of life on planet Earth the way a doctor might. So what's the situation? Suffering. What's the cause of this situation? Craving. Okay, what's the prognosis? That's noble truth number 3. What's the prognosis? Question mark. Doctor, is it fatal? You know, this is not an insignificant question. This is the question that Albert Camus, the great French existentialist, was asking with the only piece of his writing I've ever resonated with, The Myth of Sisyphus. And the only part of that piece of writing I resonated with was the very first sentence, which is what? There is only one important philosophical question, and that is the problem of suicide. Is or is not life worth living? So in Camus' case, I never got a solid yes. I'm sorry to say. Some people see a yes in Camus' energy, his spirit, his ethics, his existentialism. I didn't find that a strong enough yes in that. But I did later on find a strong yes in Buddhism. So, the prognosis is good. We can work with suffering. So, sometimes in Zen you get people who say there is an end to suffering. That's how they translate the Sanskrit for the third noble truth. There is an end to suffering. I personally don't like that. I don't like that approach because this sets up an expectation that you can reach a state that is permanently and unchangingly non-suffering in this life. And I think that's a pretty tall order. Rather, I prefer to say the prognosis is good. You can work with suffering. You can work with it creatively, dynamically. And in fact, perhaps your life path is to work with this suffering. Okay, so now what's the fourth noble truth? The fourth noble truth is the answer to how we do this, how we work with suffering, how we process, digest, and move through the other noble truths. This is the Eightfold Path. Okie dokie, artichoke, feeling good. What's the Eightfold Path? The Eightfold Path is right, like right or complete, right effort, right viewpoint, right intention, right livelihood, right speech, right concentration, right attention. Hey dude, Future Jack here, the editor version. Did you catch that? No, the seventh noble truth is not right attention, it's right action. I was so proud of myself that I remembered them all. And I didn't tell you there's a mnemonic device called Evil Scam. That's how you remember all the Eightfold Path parts. But I got it wrong. Anyways, even with the mnemonic device. Anyways, let's go to the eighth part of the Eightfold Path now and continue this video past Jack. Hit it. Right meditation. Wow. Huh. What does all that mean? Like, what is all that? What do we do with all that? Like, we're going along here. We've got three pretty easy noble truths. And suddenly we get this fourth noble truth. And now we get that like ancient Indian philosophical list, right? There wasn't much writing. I don't think there was maybe any writing, or at least there wasn't much writing at the historical Buddha figure's time, 2,600 years ago. And so they had these pedagogic methods of repeating things endlessly. If you read the old sutras, they're always repeating everything. It's very repetitive because they're orally giving a teaching. It's not written down. And, you know, lists are listicles, stick in the memory. They're very helpful. So now we've got four noble truths, and the fourth noble truth is an eightfold path. And now things start to get a little, you're juggling a lot of balls now. You got a lot of teaching balls in the air, and I don't like balls. I don't like juggling a lot of balls. I appreciate what my teacher told me once about the spiritual practice of Zen Buddhism, which is that it has few moving parts, which means you can take it into any life situation. So let's take the Eightfold Path and let's just reduce it. Let's reduce it to three categories so you can fit all of the folds in the Eightfold Path into one of these three categories. And the Sanskrit for these categories are prajna, sila, and samadhi. And I'll put those beautiful, cool sounding Sanskrit words right here. Prajna, sila, and samadhi. Okay? What does that mean? Well, sila, conduct. Prajna is wisdom, and samadhi is behavior or practice. Prajna is wisdom, and samadhi is practice. So sila, conduct, prajna, wisdom, samadhi, practice. So you have wisdom, which is the wisdom of the tradition. You have samadhi, which is practice, which is putting that wisdom into practice through what? Conduct or sila. You have the wisdom of the tradition. You put that wisdom into practice through your conduct. Inside wisdom becomes outside behavior. Does that make sense? You're putting the wisdom into practice through your activity. So we can reduce. We're getting closer. I'm getting tingles. The hairs on my neck are poking through my wisdom turtleneck. We've got three words. We've reduced. I can feel the blast of wisdom coming against me. We've reduced the entire lineage of Buddhism, a 2,600-year-old tradition, down to three words. Wisdom, practice, conduct, putting the wisdom into practice through conduct or behavior or action. Now we're going to do something. Are you ready? Are you ready? May lightning not strike me now. Feet don't fail me now. The fleeted foot of wisdom. Okay, let's reduce that all to one word. Okay, my teacher used to say this word when I would go into koan practice with him. And I would have to do what I just said. I would have to put the lineage into practice through my behavior or my conduct or my action. One action in that moment. Okay, do you understand now what koan practice is? My teacher would say, basically the question would be, how do you manifest your true self? And I would have to answer that koan. But I couldn't say, let's start with the Four Noble Truths, Roshi. He would ring his bell, which indicated the koan interchange was over, and I had to go back to the cushion because I needed to put the wisdom into practice through one activity. So what would he say? He would say one word. Do you know what that word is? Manifest. Manifest. So the three categories can be reduced to this one word. The Eightfold Path can be reduced to the three categories, and the Four Noble Truths can be reduced to the three categories, etc., etc. And all of it comes down in Zen Buddhism to this one word, manifest. Manifest. Manifest the Dharma, right here and right now. What does that mean, however? What does that mean? My teacher would offer his hand, and I would shake it, and two became one. And then our hands would retract and separate, and one became two. Two would become one. We would shake hands. I would give myself to this activity of handshaking. And it was hard. It's really hard to come into a charged, highly ritualistic practice like Sanzen, koan training, with 100-year-old Zen master, and then have to do something or lose yourself in something as simple as a handshake. Lose yourself in the handshake, and then when the handshake ends, resurrect with a new self and a new world in front of you. But that's even a little bit too complicated, okay? That gets into kind of esoteric interpretations of Sanzen koan practice, which is not helpful. So, manifest. What does that mean? When you're doing the dishes, do the dishes. Don't be thinking about why your wife is not doing the dishes. Don't be thinking about how you should get a bigger, better dishwasher so you don't have to do the dishes. Don't be thinking in your head about what Joe Rogan or Brené Brown said in their podcasts about whatever it is those clowns talk about in their podcasts, right? When you do an activity, you do the activity. Gosh, maybe this isn't the best video ever made about Zen Buddhism. It's pretty boring, right? But that's Zen. That's Zen. Like, when you're doing the practice, it disappears. It's not there. There's no such thing as Zen. Zen is, the cliche is, it's the raft to take you to the shore. When you get to the other shore, you don't need the raft. You chuck it. But it's kind of true. It's a suture that dissolves into your skin after the wound is healed. When you're practicing the Dharma, there's no thinking about the Dharma. There's no like contemplating or chewing over the Four Noble Truths. And what I like about this little journey that I just took us on through these Four Noble Truths is that it brings the practice out of the sutra texts, out of these sort of old esoteric Indian teachings. It brings Zen to life. It brings Buddhism to life. I don't know, man. I was practicing with a bunch of people recently, as you know, because I can't stop talking about it, in England and Munich. And I was with these Zen people, you know, and I was so appreciative of that Zen spirit, of just like sitting down on a cushion with like no handholds, no crutches, no safety ropes. You know, it's just you and this posture sitting, right? You're learning to meet the moment and manifest just sitting, right? Sitting is the simplest activity you can do without laying down and falling asleep. So this is a manifestation of the Buddha spirit, the cleanest, clearest manifestation of this teaching of putting the wisdom of the lineage into practice through behavior, right? The practice of just sitting and manifesting a unity of body, mind, breath, and surroundings, dissolving into this just sitting. And then being born again, and the world around you born again, fresh. There are no answers. It's like, there's no answers. That's what kind of the conclusion that I personally have come to after many years of living and many questions asked. There are no satisfactory verbal answers. Rather, you give yourself to activities, and then this tired, old thinking mind, it dies into the moment, and then a new self is born. Inside and outside connect, and a new self is born from that connection. I hope that wasn't too esoteric. I hope that made a little bit of sense. I apologize for not following through on my promise to give you the greatest video about Zen Buddhism ever, but I gave you a video on Zen Buddhism. If you want to support what I do on this channel here, you can go to patreon.com/shozan-jack-hobner. That's increasingly how I make my living. I am doing a trust fall into your arms through Patreon. So thank you for catching me. I appreciate it. You can also support the channel through PayPal, and there's a link to my PayPal in the video description below. That PayPal link has my Christian name, Steve Krieger, in it. Ooh, I don't say that name very often. I have a few names. That's one of them. Another name is Shozan Jack Hobner, which is my pen name, the name I write under and do these channels under. And then my monk's name was Gento. Anyways, no matter what your name is, the game is the same. There's Four Noble Truths, the conclusion of which is the Eightfold Path, which can be reduced to 3 categories, which can be reduced to one word. Which one word can be dissolved into a single activity? Which single activity? Whichever activity you are doing in this moment, right here and right now, in your life, your one precious life right now. Now after now after now. See you next week, and a later now.